I'll lock you up if you're naughty.
Ooh, there's a smell in here. Did anybody ever pass away in here?
This will be a little bit bigger and then spend the rest of their life in one of these prison cells.
You say you can still smell the dead hand to this day.
All right, everyone, here we are. We've teamed up with our friends Tim and Leah. Decay with us, finally, after all this time. Been looking forward to this. And today, we're here in Yuma. And what are we doing here?
Well, I'm looking forward to the Sally Port. But first, we're gonna go to prison.
Let's go. So this is the Sally Port, and it's one of the best remaining adobe structures of the prison. And this was once the main entrance. So every prisoner went through here, and if they were lucky, came out this way too. This prison opened in 1875, and the first of 7 inmates were expected in 1876. These convicts actually helped build the prison, and over the next 33 years, 3,069 prisoners, including 29 women, served their sentences here. The cells were locked by night, but during the day, the prisoners would work in the rock quarry, the kitchen, the wood yard, or on prison construction. The prison had very strict policies. There was no fighting, gambling, littering, no weapon making, and they all had to have a bath once a week. If they didn't, they would end up in the dark cell. Now, these grounds are said to be the most haunted in the whole of Arizona, and one is of a little girl who died in 1909 during the Great Depression, and it's said that she'll touch people with her ice-cold hands, pinch and poke people, especially if they're wearing red.
What's going on in here, guys?
Well, we were just sitting in here, and a bunch of people tried to come in, and we kind of felt bad because they were like, "Oh, people are in here," and turned around. And we're like, we're keeping it warm for you guys.
We were just talking about how the inmates had to use their spoons and forks to maybe dig their way out of the rock. It could be possible.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Shawshank Redemption. That's a true story.
So the doors
Rock hammer.
The doors were double. I mean, so you had this outside door, and then you had another door on the inside.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they had to deal with the mud daubers.
Yeah. Mud daubers and bed bugs.
But at least it would be cool in here compared to outside. I mean, geez, what is it?
Yeah, this actually feels really good.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, but not with 6 men and pooping all in the same bucket.
No.
Could you imagine the smell? That would just be disgusting.
Oh.
I can still smell it.
You say you can still smell the dead hand to this day.
So they used this as a school. They wouldn't use these cells as a school. I can understand the big halls, but not here. Could you imagine the kids? I'll lock you up if you're naughty.
So I was wondering the same thing. You know, I was wondering because when I read about the school coming in at 1910 to 1914, I was wondering the same thing as Andrea here. Do they use the cells, or where do they use it for the classrooms? So it had to have been the main building.
I would have thought so.
Well, because Yuma must have been such a small town back then.
Yeah.
You know, all the grades probably used one building.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they use the dark cell.
But you know, they had a football team, the Criminals. So I wonder how many people they actually had in the school.
And how many people actually rooted for them?
Right?
Actually, the reason why they were called the Criminals was to make other football teams scared of them.
Oh.
Okay.
That was the reason why.
Oh, yeah. Guess that comes with the Jaguars,
Uh-huh.
Cougars,
Yep.
Okay, the Bears.
The Raiders.
And the Steelers who just steal.
Mm-hmm. So this bell here was cast in 1875, and it was used for the townsfolk to be aware in case there was a prison break, and it could be heard from miles around. Shall we demonstrate? Cover your ears. here it is. The dark cell. Wonder why they call it that.
Because it's dark and only lit by a shaft of light.
Ooh, there's smell in here. So, dark cell, did anybody ever pass away in here?
Funnily, you should ask that. No, they didn't. However, 2 people did end up in a mental asylum after being subjected to being in here. Subjected? Subject to being in here. Now, so this is, the room's 15 by 15. This is what they were chained to. So there was also a metal cage. So, I mean, even if you could, even like treading, you could easily fall over. So they were chained in here, and up to 12 people were put in here, even though it was meant to be for solitary confinement. Could you imagine 12 people naked, all but their undies, in here? There's probably wasn't a toilet of any description, even a bucket, so they would be treading in their own feces.
Your buddies can't even knock on the door and give you a little signal or anything.
And you weren't actually just in this room, you were caged in this cage.
Oh.
So this was the cage. I think the cage is outside. This is where you would be ball and chained, only in your undies, stripped of all your clothes.
Oh, so you would be chained.
Yep, so, and
the-
and up to 12 people
Wow.
they would put in here at any one time, and no bucket for a toilet, so you literally...
Oh, so it's not solitary, it's just dark. You might be...
It was originally made for solitary confinement, but up to 12 prisoners at a time had been known to be put in here.
Wow. That's just torture.
Well, they shouldn't have broken the rules.
How many buckets did they have?
None. Now, do you know how they became in solitary confinement? Not just, we were talking about bathing earlier, but if they spat, if they littered, if they got found making weapons, bathing, they had to bath once a week. If they didn't do, or if they did any of that, they were put in here.
Really kept them in line.
And funnily enough, Stephen just asked me this, nobody ever died in here, ever, but 2 people did end up in a mental asylum because they were in here.
It's scary. In the books.
Everything's online now.
So you think, again, back in the day, to have a library, and that is one of the, that's what it looked like, that's actually pretty impressive for a prison, hardcore prison, to have that.
More books than most schools.
Yeah. So in that respect, they were actually looked after quite well, I think. Like in the prison days, then when it became a school, because it was also a hospital,
This could be a school. This could be a classroom.
this could have been a classroom, which is why they changed it. So in 1909, the last of the prisoners were relocated to a new prison, and in 1910 this became a school. It was also used as a hospital and a homeless shelter during the Great Depression.
Building up here, I don't know if it would have such a soft side compared to the rough stucco.
Who knows?
It's called adobe, or...
Yeah, adobe. That's what they class it as,
They
adobe.
probably did a couple extra layers when they were restoring it, my guess, unless that's just how well it holded up.
Yeah, because this looks more kind of like shotcrete now, over the top.
You were in Australia for a while, right? Remember the wolf bats?
I don't.
No? Oh. When I was in Brisbane, the bats, they're called fox bats. That's what they're called, fox bats. And they're up in the trees. And you walk under the trees, I don't know if you remember it, and it was just squishy and wet. It's like poop.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're huge, and their faces are the size of fox faces. And they look just like foxes.
Are they fruit? They're fruit bats. Do they eat the fruit? Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't actually see any, but a 2-man cell.
Check out the inside.
Oh, this one's cool. So I was going along thinking they were all about the same. I didn't know they had a little restored one.
Complete with bed bugs.
So they probably chained these guys down to the same little hook
It looks that way,
or
doesn't it?
attachment.
Was that 20 and 27?
Yeah, so Richard Lorraine was 20, he was a printer, and A.A. Stewart was 27 and he was a labourer. But I can't read what they actually got put in prison for.
It needs to be a little bit bigger.
Now this says, like you said, it says that only 2 ever people escaped from inside the walls of the prison. Yet I read that there was many successful escapes, and 8 people died of gunshot wounds from trying to escape. Maybe they mean they were trying to escape but never actually made it,
I shot in the back.
and then these people actually made it. Maybe that's where.
Maybe they just mean they made it and never got caught.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe
So
other people did escape, but they got caught in return.
yeah. So a little bit confusing.
May 17th, 1900.
Oh, yes, that does. It says there, without being recaptured. So
Okay.
2 left without being recaptured. The others, the 28, were captured and 8 of them got shot.
That explains it.
And then spent the rest of their life in one of these prison cells.
Did you know that this gray bridge the vehicles are traversing right now was the ocean-to-ocean bridge? It was built back in 1915. It did have to dismantle part of the prison to get it to go through. And then this rail bridge down here was built back in 1923, was used until 1923, I believe. And it was one of those rotating bridges
Oh, to let the
to let the
steamboats.
boats and things go across.
Because all of this was once the floodplain of the Colorado.
Yeah, which it used to be higher back then and everything. So, but very fascinating. Love the old architecture. All right, so the prison cemetery, huh? Mm-hmm. Now I'm a little confused because I thought you had said earlier that nobody died in the prison.
No, nobody had died as a result of being in the dark cell. 2 people went to the asylum. But in the 33 years that the prison was open, they had 111 inmates die and 104 are buried here.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome. And unfortunately, there used to be wooden markers, but most of them got stolen by treasure hunters and the ravages of time.
Now I will never get now. Why would somebody want to steal somebody else's headstone that they have nothing to do with? I mean, why would that be a souvenir?
Because they're Am I allowed to say that?
I don't think he said anything, so I think we're good.
I honestly don't know. People amaze me.
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
bizarre.
so, and I think, I mean, I did read that a lot of the cemetery, or part of the cemetery, had washed away from mass flooding. And you can see in the corner actually that it dips.
Yeah.
It dips down.
So this is still the original cemetery.
This is the
right?
original cemetery, yeah.
Okay.
And the original bodies, to my knowledge, have never been relocated. They are still here.
Okay. And they are all facing the traditional
East-west.
east-west.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looking at the sun.
Yeah.
And they're all facing the same way, so yeah.
Yeah. Now these ones over here are a bit shorter, it looks like. So I don't know if they've come through and repiled rocks later on, do you think?
Probably. I mean, if they've had mass washouts, they could have done.
Because yeah, that's, well, I know on one of the signs it says one of the youngest inmates was 14 years old. So I mean, they could have been, you know, and they were shorter stature back then. Or
Pretty
am I not
amazing.
allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. Maybe we should do a video about that. Just say random things. I'm like, am I allowed to say that? Am I going to get in trouble for that? Thank you for coming along and joining us to explore the Yuma State Prison. And a big thank you to Decay with Us for coming out and hanging out with us. We've been looking forward to this for a long time, and they're a lot of fun. Please go check out their channel. If you like the Pacific Northwest, that's their backyard, so.
And their link will be in the description below.
All right, everybody, get out there, go explore, and put another pin in the atlas.
And we will see you on our next adventure.
Bye.
Ocean to Ocean Bridge.
Oh, so that's the ocean, not the railway.
Yeah. Okay, so it's here. The Grey Bridge was finished in 1915. It's called the Ocean to Ocean Highway Bridge. You don't need to read the rest. And this served as the old railway bridge until 1923. So 1915, and then this served as 1923.
Okay.
And you talk. So I'll be this side so you can get the
right.
angle.
Are they both rolling? Did you know that this gray bridge that these vehicles are passing on was the Ocean to Ocean Bridge? And then right next to it, this old railway, it's original, from the 1920s. It actually used to pivot at one point. Like an old, you know, the topsy-turvies go round and round and round. Used to make the train drivers sick. But that was the draw to come to Yuma. True story.
He's so full of shit.
Put the rolls in.
And rolling.
Yeah, because then we could all, when Tim goes,
You guys filming?
when Tim says
Making a little
about,
movie?
That's a fancy little thing you got there.
When,
What is that called?
when Tim says about, oh, we're going to prison, we could all jump up and start walking off to the Sally Port,
Yeah.
actually.
You hear that?
Do,
babe?
do any of those, are they showing the Sally Port or are they showing
Yeah,
the
they're
tower?
showing. I got the mix of that and the Sally Port in the background.
Yeah, so maybe we could walk to the Sally Port.
Sally Port, I got that dead center.
Are we snuggling up a bit?
Yeah. Can get.
Not us. I guess we're being cute.
So who's
You don't have to be that far away from me unless I really stink.
Yeah, because we got some. Mine will pick ours up, and then where's yours so that you can get. Do you want to mic Tim up? Because then my mic can pick both of us up.
It's on.
I was gonna clip it on.
Just clip it. There you go.
Perfect.
Testes. 1, 2, 3.
Do you want to put it on your arm so it's not right here on your neck? Just because you're so close to your mouth?
and then it'll pick up her as well, I
Yeah.
guess.
There you go. Smells like you. There we are.
It's gonna hear me flex.
What's that blood flow sound? All
Okay,
right.
so you're doing the talking.
What am I supposed to say?
Just wing it as it, whatever you feel like saying.
So I'm gonna say teamed up with you guys finally after all this time, and then you were gonna say something, and then you're gonna say
I'm going to say something.
we're going to. I thought you were. Were you not? I was gonna say that, and then you're gonna say, okay, let's go to prison. And then we get up and walk away.
Tim's going to say that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then if there's a little lull, I can just chop it.
And
to-
then Leah's going to go down and go like this.
My yoga pants, my underwear line.
Oh, I fell. Oh, I fell.
Oops.
Dr. Hannah, eat your heart out.
All right.
Embarrassing this one.
In 3, 2, 1.